Hello.
Hi, we are Doctors Jennifer and Jake Dean Hill, and this is the Doctors J&J podcast. We are so excited to be here with you today. We are both licensed therapists. We work together, we live together, we lead together, so we understand the challenges of being able to work peacefully and harmoniously together. We have come up with a simple, concrete solution. It's called Wear Two Crowns.
Wear Two Crowns is all about equity, learning how to bring out the strengths in each other, and learning how to share the power in the relationship so that we can all be better together. Each week, we're going to give you tips and tools and strategies and even personal stories to help you wear two crowns. And we're going to invite experts in the field of relationships that will help to educate us, inspire us to wear two crowns as well.
Yes. So tune in each week. We look forward to our time together.
Hello and welcome back to the Doctors J&J podcast. We are so glad you've joined us again.
Yes, we are. Welcome. Welcome back.
Today we are going to talk about the topic of emotional intelligence.
Very hot topic.
Yes.
Especially with leaders.
EQ.
EQ, not IQ, but EQ, emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. It is a hot item that a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people don't really understand all the nuances of it. So we thought, you know what? It's a good topic for us to kind of go over and cover all the different areas that emotional intelligence entails.
Yeah.
One of the first things emotional intelligence deals with is this idea of self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't recognize your own emotions, you're not going to be very emotional intelligent.
True.
Something that I have struggled with my whole life. Being aware of what am I feeling and what is going on inside of me. How do I name my emotions and what, are they accurate, my thoughts and feelings and getting in touch with that. So, self-awareness is not just understanding your emotions, but also understanding what kind of impact you make on the world around you.
Well, that's good. How you express your emotions, how they impact others. Some people just emote and they have no consideration. We all know them. They have no consideration about how it impacts people. And I'm sure we've all been there at some point or another. Typically, we see this like in 2-year-olds, right, where they throw fits and throw themselves down in the middle of a grocery store if they don't get exactly what they want, right? So we can still do this as adults, where we struggle to know how to express our emotions and our feelings. I do run into this so much with men too. They don't seem to have, when I ask the question, what's the purpose of emotions? They don't seem to know why or even care to know why they have those emotions. I'm curious. Can you speak to that for men?
Yeah, I think that's a very common sentiment, and probably not just with men, but some women too, is
True.
like, what is the point of emotion? Because we think that having an emotion about something that has already happened, especially like I'm sad that my dog died. Well, my sadness is not going to bring my dog back. And so in our mind, we think the emotion has no relevance. It has no purpose because it's not going to change the outcome. And so we tend to dismiss the emotion as there's no purpose of it. When in reality, us expressing the emotion gets it out of here and out of the internal and brings external, and it puts a name to it.
Well, that's good. The other thing it does is it allows people to connect with you when you feel sad.
Right.
If you don't ever express that, then we wonder why this person is going around with teary eyes and downcast face, right? So, but when they say, I feel sad because my dog died, then we all go, oh. And if you're an empathetic person, you reach to immediately comfort or reassure that person. But sometimes I would think too, we struggle to communicate emotions because two things: we don't know what we need,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't want to be rejected in our emotion or shamed or put down or even silenced and ignored in it, because that's so scary to have an emotion and then to be unrecognized or not comforted or cared for.
So true.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Well, I definitely find that happening more with so many times women are very caught up in their emotions. And again, we're stereotyping. They may be very caught up with their emotions, but they don't know why. We don't, as women, we won't know why we feel. And the thing that has really helped me is to, when I have my emotions, is to connect it with a need.
Mm,
And then it helps you to be able to connect with me.
I agree. Yeah. The other thing I notice with people who do a lot of journaling
Mm-hmm.
tend to be more in tune and in touch with their emotions. And
Yes.
you have done journaling since you were how old? 5?
5?
Yeah.
Since I could write.
So, and I can't keep track of how many journals you filled up, but it's a boatload.
One a year.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
do the math. And I think that's such a good thing for if we want to become more self-aware of our emotions and the impact and to gain insight is to stop and think and journal and put words to, what's going on inside. And so I've really enjoyed learning from you in that way.
Oh, well, thank you. But I got to say, I have not journaled just because it's a practice, a daily practice that, I should do this. I do it because I have to, because my emotions can get just really big and they can capsize me. And so I have to really get myself emotionally organized so I can understand what's behind this. Are some of these emotions just symptoms of something bigger? But what's behind this? What am I feeling? And really, what do I need? And that is so hard for me I could talk all day about my emotions, but to really make sure that I understand how to connect that with a need so that I can provide it for myself, self-regulate. And then I can also do a reach for you to co-regulate so that you can provide connection for me and comfort and help.
Which is a perfect segue to our second area of emotional intelligence.
Or we'll say with friends or anything too, right? It's
Right.
not just your partner.
Self-regulation obviously is a big part of emotional intelligence as well, because if you don't know how to manage your own emotions effectively, you're not going to obviously be very emotionally intelligent, but you're also going to be dysregulated a lot. And you're going to be looking for others to help regulate you, but you're not going to be taking care of yourself, and you're not going to learn the art of holding those emotions. Sometimes because difficult emotions are so uncomfortable, we tend to avoid, we tend to dismiss and distract ourselves. And so it doesn't allow us to sit and make space for the emotion.
I remember learning through AA work with people that I've worked with, and even going through the 12 steps myself, just for my own self development and things, is the two hardest emotions for a human to feel that we're typically self-medicating away is disappointment and confusion. And I've noticed that with myself, man. If I'm feeling disappointed or I'm confused, man, my go-to is, where's the ice cream? Where's some chocolate? How can I soothe that emotion? How can I get that calmed down for myself, if not numbed? And sometimes you need to do that, numb out a little bit before you can regulate yourself and figure out, what is it that I really need because I'm feeling so disappointed. I need some clarity when I'm confused. I need some comfort and a path forward when I'm disappointed.
That is so good. And I think I also go back to our whole 2 crown idea of part of putting your own crown on is learning that skill of self-regulation, but also just understanding your emotion so that your partner can help you and that you can, just be able to communicate, like you said, your needs that go along with the feelings.
But let's give some quick examples before we move to the next point about how to self-regulate, which is deep breaths.
Yes.
Taking some deep breaths is really good. Being able to reframe the situation. I love reframing. It's like you take a whole frame and you put it on a picture and it changes the whole colors and landscape.
Yes.
So reframing is, what's another way to view this? Or what's the worst that can happen? Or am I alone in this? No, other people have typically felt what you have felt. And how have they handled that? Okay, so reframing question is really good. And then being able to do anything like exercise and get outdoors in nature and get your feet in the grass, grounding.
Yeah, and understanding those things that help regulate stress, but also help you deal with, I always say, what are things that feed your soul? Because your soul is kind of hurting, right? Your soul is struggling, and understanding what feeds your soul. Some people like to be out in nature. Some people like to listen to worship music, or they like to talk to a friend.
Paint, art.
Right, art or exercise, like you said. And so learning those things, but you're not going to ever do those activities if you don't first admit that you're feeling that emotion.
Exactly. And if you can't regulate, then you can't be reasonable. And therefore, for our third point is you can't be motivated, right? So you'll just get so capsized by your emotions that you're not able to understand what it is that you need to progress and motivate yourself to move forward. So once you get through that emotion, you match it up with a need, right? Now we can be reasonable, right? I'm really disappointed, so I can keep eating this tub of ice cream and numbing out, or I can learn how to self-regulate myself, get outdoors, say some positive statements to myself, call a friend, read an inspirational book, listen to some music, right? Different things like that. Then I can understand, okay, I can be reasonable about this. How do I want to respond to this disappointment? How do I want to help myself with this confusion, right? Now we can start to set some goals. Well, I'm disappointed that I'm failing in my, exercise plan.
Right.
So I think I'm going to hire a exercise guru to help me keep accountable.
A trainer
or
something.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
No, and I think it also reminds me of what you said earlier about the purpose of emotions. And if we really stop and think about it, harnessing your emotions is what propels you towards a goal or towards something that you're trying to accomplish. And so sometimes you don't realize that, yes, having happiness or excitement or joy propels you to, go take a trip or do something that you've never done before or whatever. So we always think about sometimes some of the difficult emotions that we're trying to avoid, but you think about a mom who is harnessing the emotion of fear and anger to lift the car to save her child. Right. And it's like, that is definitely harnessing emotion towards a goal.
Yes.
Even when you don't expect it. And so when you think about what emotion is for, you realize that, you can harness that emotion towards,
doing the impossible.
Right. Doing the impossible or,
advancing.
Or even working through grief. It's like, I want to grieve my, loved one well. And so we take that time and we harness that emotion and we don't be afraid of it. I think you have to make a decision that you're not going to fear that emotion,
Ooh, that's good. Or
even
try
though fear is an emotion.
That's true. Or try to silence it or numb it out. We see that a lot, even through psychotropic meds, right? Let me just numb this out. I'm like, well, definitely when it's becoming unbearable and it's affecting your quality of life, and we can't figure out why it's here. At the same time, what's ideal is, why is your depression here? Why is your anxiety here? What's going on? And a lot of times it comes back to, just pro tip for any of us who struggle to understand what we're feeling, some disappointment, unmet longings,
Yeah.
and some real confusion that we've had with some mixed messages from relationships a lot of times.
Yeah. Another tool to help with motivating around emotion is gratitude. Gratitude is always a good reminder to say, okay, even though I may have a difficult emotion right now about a particular thing, I can always find something to be grateful for, or to, to help propel me forward,
Yeah,
to
express.
find the silver lining.
Don't you do that on a daily basis now? You've become quite the journaler.
Yes, my daughter gave me it's a directed journal for Christmas, and it's been very helpful. It's actually called the Gratitude Journal, and so I write down 3 things I'm grateful for every day, and as well as things that I hope for the day, a positive affirmation for myself, and then in the evening I journal again about how the day went and what I learned. And so for a non-journaler like me, it was such a good tool to kind of organize my journaling. And there's lines that I have to fill in, and so it really works with my OCD well.
That's not what I like, sir. So the final.
Yeah, the next point is empathy. Emotional intelligence has to include empathy, because it's not emotional intelligence, not just understanding your own emotions, it's being able to understand and have empathy for another person's emotions. And so if you ever describe yourself as emotionally intelligent, and because you really understand your own emotions well, you only have half of the puzzle. And so having the awareness of another person's emotions, listening, making space for another person's emotions, and getting in their shoes. Right?
Yeah, it's empathy is different than sympathy, right? So Brene Brown has a great video on this. You can just Google it on
A little cartoon. Yeah.
on YouTube. That's a little cartoon. The difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is, that's a bummer. Sucks to be you, right? So yeah, I see you, and that's hard. But empathy is, what does it feel like to be you?
Right. I'm going to get down in the pit with you and experience life with you.
Right. What does it feel like to be in this person's shoes?
Right.
So in order to do that, you really have to listen. You have to make sure you're emotionally regulated. You cannot empathize with somebody when you are dysregulated and in distress, which I think is a real big problem. I will just say, nationally right now, it seems like in our country, there's a lot of anxiety and dysregulation going on, and polarized conversations and thinking. So it's very hard. I've seen a real shift in us and our ability to be able to have kind and rational conversations about certain topics or religion or politics. And we're seeing such a divisiveness come in to families and marriages and children and parents, because the ability to regulate your own emotion and then be able to hear somebody else's emotion seems to be becoming more and more lost art. So we are really working double time, even just in our 25 years of practice now, to help people feel calm about themselves so they can listen. And many times I'm working with a couple and they're both so dysregulated and struggling. And I'm literally looking at the wife and saying, okay, I hear you and this is so hard and empathy to you. And then I can feel out of the corner of my eye the husband bristling up and going, yeah, but what about me? She's taking her side. And then I immediately shift to the man and I'm like, empathize. That must be so hard. I can't believe it. That's so brave of you. And right. So I empathize with both of them, get them both settled down so that they can turn towards each other and express some empathy and compassion towards one another. Then we can solve the problem. So that self-regulation is key to be able to actually listen and express empathy.
Right. Yeah, because if you're dysregulated, you're not going to have the empathy. And I would say in our practice, probably if every couple mastered empathy, we'd probably be almost out of a job.
Yeah.
And so empathy is so important, and it's so crucial to take the time to really walk in someone's shoes and understand. And it's not going to happen if you don't take the time to really stop and listen and seek to understand.
I would say the final point on this that Goldman brings up too, as far as developing empathy, is really watching people's facial expressions and their body language, right? Because that is 93% of communication is body language and tone.
Right.
So if you have your back to somebody or you're not giving eye contact with them, you're not watching their eyes, you're not watching their face, you are missing so much of communication, and it's keeping you distant from that person. Plus it's keeping you protected from having any more connection and communication with somebody else.
Right.
So sometimes if you find yourself missing a lot of messages, slow down, really make sure you're facing each other. Make sure you're taking turns in the communication, and make sure you're looking at one another and you're not fiddling with something else, trying to fix the faucet while you're having a conversation or fix a meal, right? That you're literally looking, watching your partner, slowing down.
Yeah. Eye contact.
Huge.
Something we're not really good at in this culture a lot. At least I can speak for myself. And you mentioned Daniel Goleman, and I meant to mention that at the beginning, but you can get so much more information, and a lot of this information is coming directly from his book, Emotional Intelligence. But Daniel Goleman is kind of the expert on emotional intelligence, EQ, and we recommend his book a lot to clients, and we're highlighting a lot of the things that come out of his research into emotional intelligence. And the thing I'll mention about empathy too that we struggle with sometimes is when your partner is expressing an emotion or a struggle, a lot of times for a lot of people, that becomes a springboard to you talking about your own emotion.
Right. Or your own trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do this, and we don't realize that, even with, somebody who's grieving, and then they go, well, my grandma died of cancer too.
Well, my grandma died too.
Yeah. Or, and they think that it's this way of relating, and it's like, oh, my family member experienced the same thing, or I broke my leg too, or, and so we springboard off of that, and we focus on our own emotion or our own experience, which we don't realize is not really giving empathy or identification. It's really taking away from what the other person is sharing.
Yeah, it's more competing, and it doesn't give space for that one person. So it's basically, and this is what people do often, and they think this is being empathetic. And I do think there is probably a degree of empathy on it. It's not like you're going, hey, my grandma died. Oh, check out the weather. I mean, it's related, right? My grandma died too, right? So there can be a level of empathy that comes in with that.
Right.
And then you go, oh, you get me because your grandma died. Unfortunately, what ends up happening sometimes, if we're not aware, is that it starts becoming about the other person instead of creating space for the person that initiated the sharing.
Yeah, it's a good pro tip. I learned that early on and just going through my education
Yeah, me
that
too.
what grieving people or hurting people really need, and it's really a lot more silence and comfort than these related experiences. And so it's just a good reminder. The last thing we're going to mention and when it comes to emotional intelligence is social skills. And that's all about building strong relationships. And if you don't have social skills, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of relationships.
No.
And in order to have good social relationships, you need some level of emotional intelligence because you need to be able to communicate effectively. You need to be able to listen effectively. You need to be able to understand the dynamics that go along with that. You need to understand that, oh, here's the mood going on in this group. I'm socializing. I can't tell you how many times I have had low emotional intelligence going into a situation, and Jen will be like, didn't you notice everyone was so sad? And you're coming in telling jokes, and it's like, oh,
I would say
I missed that.
that dramatic.
Well, okay.
Maybe there was a day back in the day, but yeah, they're definitely, you're right. We can, sometimes we can monologue in group settings, or we can talk about topics that nobody else cares about except maybe two people in that group. That creates such a social exclusion, right, to everybody else. So, it's definitely being able to be aware of these things and understanding that when we have good, strong social skills, then we're able, again, to create community, have difficult conversations. Again, we're finding such problems with this right now in our culture. Difficult conversations are typically about, social exclusion, distancing, pushing people out of your life instead of trying to work through some difficult things, using I statements, trying to find a way to negotiate to a middle ground that works for both people. And a lot of villainizing, you're horrible and bad, therefore you deserve to be excused, from my life, or rejected. So, there's times and places for that. We're just seeing an abundant, excessive amount of that, not only in families, but in also friendships and communities, that is making it hard for us to grow in connection and develop healthy communities. So
Yeah.
we strongly recommend, this is a healthier road to take, is developing your emotional intelligence so that you can have stronger connections.
Yeah. And it really does a dramatic effect on your ability to have conflict resolution.
Yeah.
And, you don't think about that. Like, most couples are not coming in and going, we need help with our emotional intelligence. No, they're saying we need help with conflict resolution or communication. But at the base of that is, if you increase your emotional intelligence, your ability to have empathy, your ability to be able to understand and how to resolve conflict, self-regulating, being able to co-regulate because you're self-regulated, being aware of your emotions, and all of that is a package deal. And so if there's anything you could work on that's going to improve your relationship, I would say emotional intelligence is pretty high on the list.
Yeah, learn, who you can practice this with. Choose one of the most difficult people in your life and practice being able to self-regulate around them. Practice being able to give empathy. Guaranteed that relationship will improve if you can just show empathy, which is the precursor to compassion. If you can have empathy for somebody, now you can have compassion, and compassion is the action of empathy. Let me say it again. Compassion is the action of empathy. So now we can act and do something that would show value to an individual after we've empathized with them. It's really hard to do that when they are either villainizing or they're putting other people down or they're just being a difficult individual. So it's a great way to practice. Choose somebody that's difficult. Choose somebody that's close to you, that you think that they should read your mind and they should know better. They never do. Choose those people in your life. Try to practice increasing your EQ. That's what Jake and I often say. I'm like, well, you're in my life for me to practice developing my EQ. I just want to be able to say, hey, see this frown? Turn it upside down. Make me feel better.
Honey, you're welcome. You're welcome for giving you lots of room to practice.
Well, likewise, Eddie. The emotion that comes at inconvenient times for you, and I'm like, and I still need to make space for this because I am feeling an emotion here, and help me get to a need, if in some cases, or at least honor my need. Right? These don't come at convenient times.
Yes.
Whether you're at work, whether you're in the home, whether you're trying to parent young children, to have an emotion and it be at an inconvenient time it can be very challenging for the relationship.
Why don't they come at convenient times?
If only. I'm sure that would be what you would want, is to wave your magic wand, but maybe possibly decrease emotion a little bit more too. There's people that just like, could we just not have these emotions be such a big part of stories, but
less emotion, all at the right time, but
more logical.
It's just not reality.
That's what The Notebook was built off of, that movie. Ton of emotion.
Yes. I always like to remind women who go, oh, why can't you be like the guy in The Notebook? And I go, well, he was reading a script. Remember that.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
So the crown jewel
for this episode would be increasing your EQ, your emotional intelligence, will help build your shared kingdom. It will probably have the most significant impact on the two of you having and living as two crowns.
Beautiful, Jake. That's so good. Man, this is motivating me to work harder on this and not just my thing is to work on is not just getting stuck in my emotion or capsized by it, but to really understand what I'm feeling without being critical, without putting anybody down, right? And then being able to say what it is that I need.
Yes.
What are you going to work on?
I'm going to work on making space.
Ooh, that's good.
Making space for your emotion and other people's emotions so that I can take the time to have empathy. But let me review these for you all. The 5 things we went over today and these are straight out of Daniel Goleman's book, Emotional Intelligence. Number 1, self-awareness. Recognize your own emotions and the impact it has. Number 2, self-regulation. Learning how to manage your emotions effectively. Number 3, motivation. Basically, learning how to harness your emotions towards your goals. Number 4, empathy. Understanding others' emotions and learning how to make space for that. And then 5 is social skills and learning how to build strong relationships. All of those elements make up emotional intelligence. And so we thank you for joining us.
May you live, love, lead better together.
Yes. Don't forget to give us a like and a follow, and please share this episode with anyone who may benefit.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.